idea that there's so much that happens in between ages 18 and 21 that like they're suddenly able to make this decision.
Divide by 2, add 7.
And also we know that it's
That's the rule.
It's possible. I mean, my parents had me at 19, 20. My grandparents had my parents at the summer in between 8th grade and freshman year, and they killed it. Like I wish I had children. You know, I wish I was there. Like people are able to do it. We're just getting a little softer, I think.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me because maybe Andrew has an opinion on this as well. But I find that Andrew that's here with us.
I think Andrew Tay wants 13-year-olds.
That's not.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, that's completely inappropriate. No, I find it very interesting now that kids want to grow up so much in such a provocative way, but I feel like they're becoming less mature and adult than like she was mentioning, our parents and our grandparents were at the same age.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of sad, to be honest.
Yeah, because the ages that people are marrying and having kids is obviously getting later and later in life, and honestly, I think people are being a lot less successful at it now than they were in the past.
Yeah,
but that still has nothing to do with age gap about when you're getting married in age. You can still be around the same similar age of when you're getting married.
No, sure, but I think it has to do a lot with the level of maturity that you have when you're able to get married and have kids and start a family and be successful at it. I would say that that's a lot more difficult of a decision than deciding on a partner that might be quite a bit older than you, and it still being appropriate.
Yeah.
KEEKO, do you think that 18-year-old women should be able to get an abortion?
I think a woman at any age should be able to.
Yeah.
At any age.
Yeah, you think so? You think that they have the agency to do that? They can make the choice to do that, but
So I also think
date somebody who's older than they are. They have the literal ability over life and death, but they can't make the choice to date an older guy.
So I also think that the 13-year-old has the right to make a decision if she wants to have an abortion or not. I don't think a 13-year-old has the right to decide if she wants to date a 50-year-old. See how those are two different conflicting things that have nothing to do with each other?
Yeah,
they're very opposing.
So wait a second. What the agency issue here? You would say a 13-year-old would still have to have her parents around, help guide her to any of the major decisions that they're going to make, including that decision. There's no way you can take that off the table. At 18 years old, that's not a necessity anymore. That's an adult. Why is it that you think that this person has the capacity to make such a decision, but doesn't have the capacity to make a decision as to who they want to date?
Okay, this is like...
It's very different raising a child at a young age than it is dating somebody. Very different.
And why do you keep...
And I know that they're different. I'm looking for consistency.
Andrew, why do you keep defending men that want to date teenagers?
Yeah, like why
That's
is it
not
like...
cool.
There's a problem with an 18-year-old
I just think
dating.
So
I
you
don't see a
said-
problem with 18-year-olds dating. Why do you see a problem with that? Is it because of your own immaturities? Is that why?
No, it's just because the last job I've had before I got into bartending, I was a manager and a site lead of these 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 19-year-olds. They are kids. They're still kids, especially this day and age.
So are 21-year-olds.
Okay. So same in this day and age of how because honestly, there's a lot of problems within the schools, you would agree probably, and how we've been raising our kids. We are raising them to be extra soft and coddled. So especially these 18-year-olds and this generation that's going through our schooling system we have now that's getting so handheld through life, I'm not saying there's not one-off instances where an 18-year-old and an older man cannot work, but I'm saying I think that is more far and few in between than the age gap of 21 and plus. That literally is all I'm saying is...
Yeah, but you're not basing that on anything. It's just arbitrary.
I'm basing it on people I've seen.
It's just some like preference you have where you just think it's icky. That's it.
No, it's basing it off of looking at how things have turned out for other women who were 18 who decided to get in these older relationships with men, start a family at 18 before they got their own education or a good job. Then what happens when that man turns out to not be not good? Because a lot of them, those men...
Prove it's not turning out good for
I'm not going to go air out not all my friends, but some people I know. I'm not going to air out their dirty business right now. But you can go on, even going online, you can see your own testimonies of people. If you have... I'm not saying it's always going to happen, but it happens too much.
KEEKO,
it happens
just anecdotes, though.
You're just anecdotes. Everything is just anecdotes.
Oh, okay. Well, KEEKO. All the people I know have these huge age gaps in their relationships. Those all work out great.
Then that's your experience. My experience is different.
Right. So I get. So it's equally as valid as yours.
Generation.
Like,
Is it going to change your mind because I said that? Because I told you that? Wait, my anecdotal experience is different than yours.
This is the difference here. You're stuck in trying to change my mind. I'm not trying to change your mind. You're just asking me questions, and I'm answering how I feel. You can think.
Well,
how you
I do
feel.
want to.
You're married with
change
kids.
your mind, of course.
I don't care to change your mind. You're married with kids, so I'm hoping that you won't be you won't be going around 18-year-olds anyway. So I'm not really concerned how you feel about it. But you're the one who
What
decided.
does that have to do with anything?
Because I don't feel the need to lecture you on it because you're already married with kids. I'm more concerned with if there's other men who still want to seek out 18-year-olds that are that plus, then I'll talk to them.
I got something to say.
If the argument is I want to get up in other people's business, then it's equally valid for me to say, okay, me too. And I'm taking the opposite position of you, and I think that there's absolutely no problem with an 18-year-old male dating a vastly older woman or an 18-year-old female dating a vastly older man. It seems like there's reasons for those preferences that make sense.
Here, I want to bring in some of the
What
other
is the
people.
reason for those preferences, though? Why would you prefer an 18-year-old?
KEEKO, stop. I'm going to bring in some other people on the panel here.
Because of fertility.
Fertility. And you're okay, so I guess I have personal experience. Has anybody dated like an old person when they were a teenager here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was seeing someone who was 36 when I was 16. Whoa. And it was pretty sick until he went to jail.
Oh.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, he went to jail.
For being with you?
I didn't hear.
Identity theft.
Oh. This girl's a troll.
You're one of the most interesting.
I know.
No, it's actually real. I have text messages to prove it.
All right. I mean,
like that's.
He went to jail.
That's exactly what I see.
No, he went to jail.
We're talking about age gaps. He went to jail for something totally unrelated.
Yes, but my point was it was pretty sick.
It was sick
you mean
and
sick?
going to jail?
Like, do you mean sick as in cool or sick as in?
The first
when I was 14 dating a 28-year-old, it seemed pretty cool at the time too. Until I got older and realized how freaking sick it was. That's why when I see those, when I was 14, I had a lot of older men on my tail. So when I see those 14 and 28, right? When I see 18 and 40, that's what I see. Is like, okay, they learned their lesson now, and now they're at least going for girls of age. That's how I read it as. So
did I hear you right when you said that you dated an older man at that age?
Yeah, I was 14 dating a 28-year-old. Yes, Andrew, that's what I said.
Well, why?
Because I was an idiot. I was 14, had no idea what I was doing. He was coming on to me, was talking to me a lot, asked me out. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Older guy is interested in me. You know, he has a job, he has a car.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. Let's be honest, at this point a better argument can be made that many women never emotionally or mentally mature. The panel ebbing case in point. Society is doomed. Send the nukes.
Yeah, send the nukes.
Damn.
So back.
That's hot.
Oppenheimer?
Oh my.
So kind of back to this as we dive into it. Why is it though? You don't think that maybe informs your preference that you had a really bad experience when you were young? So therefore, when women are considered adults, you have decided that you still need to kind of move that goalpost forward because you're trying to protect them from the same types of bad experiences that you had?
That's the thing, though. I never said it was a bad experience. It was great. He bought me a lot of stuff. He bought me food. He took me to my practices. It was a wonderful time.
It could have been bad.
It could have gotten really bad if I didn't leave when I did. And obviously, he was a 28-year-old with a 14-year-old, which he had no business doing. So even though it was a great relationship, with my mind now being more developed, I realized how sick and twisted it was. Never said it was a bad relationship, though.
Were you the one
I
that
never said that.
stepped away from the relationship, or did he? Step
I did.
away?
Finally, when I was talking to more, I told more and more of my friends. And at first, my friends thought it was cool, like my age friends. But then I got talking to more of my older friends who were in high school, because I was still in 8th grade at this time.
Yeah, you're just a child.
And they were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Can
I add something? The difference is that's highly illegal. So
I know,
he is
but
a slime ball.
the only reason why I brought that up though is because it reminds me of like I do know him still. I don't know him at all, like know him personally, but he's the guy now who's I don't know how old he is. He's like in his late 30s, early 40s, who's dating 18-year-olds.
Go ahead.
It's a trend. It ends up being a
Stop.
trend.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that when I was 16, I didn't date anybody really old, but I was talking to this guy who was 19 at the time, and even then he was very aware that it was still
Nick,
a little inappropriate for him to be talking to me because of like you know, the fact that I was 16 and he was 19 and about to be 20. So I feel like if a 19-year-old boy can even make that decision and be like, okay, that's wrong, I don't want to date the 16-year-old, even though we are both teenagers technically, and you know, it's 16, 19, that's like, what, 3 years? That's not that bad. But even he had, like, the knowledge and was like, okay, I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah, because it's a crime.
He didn't want to get locked up.
Yeah, I know.
It was
I'm
a
saying
crime.
that
It had nothing to do with what you and him wanted. It was a crime. That's why he didn't want to do it, right?
yeah, obviously, but I'm saying that
So I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Can I finish?
I'm trying to figure out why it's
Well, you're
actually
cutting
of
me
some
off.
kind of moral imperative at 18. When they're 18, they're considered adults by society. Why it's somehow bad, other than like kind of this arbitrary ick factor that you had. I don't see any other argument than that.
But like, why can't we smoke and drink at 18?
Because
Or
you're
smoke and drink. Smoke and drink at 18.
Wait, Keeko, move your mic.
There's a little bit of a difference, though, consuming substances that can alter your brain chemistry
Versus having sex with somebody that can alter your brain for life.
Well,
Because
I
we
mean,
all-
nobody's advocating for having sex at that age.
Look,
but-
the reason that you saw the drinking age and stuff like that go up
Hold on
is
just a
because
sec. Hold on.
Brian, call animal control. There's a raccoon at the table. What the fuck is going on? Also, how are you gonna struggle opening that wine bottle? My hands are bleeding.
This I didn't even get it.
Bro,
Hashtag
I swear I loosened that shit for Keeko. Like it was about to pop, but then like, you know, it is what you can. Right, I'm still kind of, I don't know.
You can still.
Was that your first
one more
one?
to prove yourself, Brian?
Yeah, we have 2 more. If anybody wants to like, you know, I can redeem myself if anybody wants to, you know, so we got 2 more champagne bottles that we can pop. So imagine if I go for 0 for 3 on all the champagne bottles. I actually have to end the podcast. Like I can't do this podcast anymore if I can't open one of those
I think
champagne
you'd be
bottles.
too injured at that point.
Yeah, probably. I'm just, I'm going to be, Nick, she sent us go to our Instagram. She sent us a photo or something.
Yeah, it's a screenshot.
Okay, so we'll pull that up. Here, let me do a chat. Let me get this chat in. We have Dark Shadow. Brian and Andrew, thanks for awesome shows. These ladies have no value. If they say cuddling is what they bring to the relationship, a pillow does the same thing. The woman next to Brian is beautiful. Okay, assume you're talking about Priya.
Yeah, she
is beautiful.
All right, thank you, Dark Shadow. Thank you, LPE. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Oh, that's still loading. Here. One sec.
So funny.
Do you have it, Nick?
That you said it's not about sex, but he already said too. Fertility was the #1 thing that he would go after an 18-year-old for.
Well,
Yeah,
if we're talking about
so,
marriage,
Nick.
that's different.
Nick.
No, that's not what I said.
I said what was better about an 18-year-old? You said fertility, so that means
Yeah,
having
but that
babies.
doesn't. But what you did was you inserted. He said he would do X, didn't you? So you lied, is what you did.
Okay,
You were trying to insert that I would do an action
Why are
based
you
on an
so
argument that I made
mad?
for why
He's
I
not
think
mad.
that men would go for women who had more fertility, and why that would biologically make sense that they do so. That has nothing to do with what I would or wouldn't do.
Okay, redacted. A reason he gave for why men would want to go for an 18-year-old is fertility. So if it's for fertility, then you're saying that, oh, it's different because drugs and drinking and all that can make your mind different. But I'm like, so can having a child. So
Yeah, I agree.
why?
So the thing is a reason
I'm
that
not talking to you. I'm talking to Priya.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
but I need to clarify because I was cut off by the
Andrew,
super chat.
stop
I was answering that
interrupting.
question already. I was
Okay.
already answering that question for you.
Wait.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving and organizations like this are the ones that push those laws to raise the drinking age and smoking age from 18. It was tied with you being an adult, always, until a bunch of busybody, dumb broads like yourselves got together and decided that they wanted to push the age of consent laws forward.
Why?
That makes no sense. It's not consistent anymore.
Because too
that
many
you're an adult and
18-year-olds
drink
were
or
drinking
smoke.
and driving, right? Too many 18-year-olds were drinking and driving because
Okay.
they couldn't handle the
Can I say
responsibility
Nope.
of drinking.
Hold on. No, 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 no,
I
Stop.
have my hand raised.
But
No.
dumb broads.
Stop. So I think, did you have your hand raised and then you had your hand raised? You go, then you go.
Okay, I was gonna say for fertility, actually, statistically speaking, 18-year-olds are very fertile.
Oh my God.
Like, why do you keep? Can we go on there?
Okay, that's good.
Is it her that's doing that?
Doing what?
Going back to what?
She just keeps trolling. She's just
No,
trolling
I'm saying
the
that
whole
it's
time.
true. So like we should take into consideration
they-
when we talk about age of consent.
I don't want 13-year-olds to have
No one's
babies.
advocating for that.
Yeah, we don't.
No, I'm not advocating for 13-year-old. I'm just saying, like, if we're really talking about fertility, you know, that's something to
And basically our fertility, we are most fertile when we are, no, that's a good point though. We are fertile when we are most born. By the time we are 13 and hit our puberty, women, once we go through our first menstrual cycle, we lose majority of our fertility
Your turn.
anyway. So it's
Your
not
turn. Her turn.
Oh man, we get that, reel that back in.
Go ahead.
So for the hypothetical situation where you wanted to protect your daughter from an older guy, would you even bother getting to know this? Like if we're gonna, it's all hypothetical. And then if you made the same mistakes that you're trying to prevent, how would they learn how to make their own choices?
You don't have to, I see your point.
No, like the way that it is I'm not gonna make an anecdote thing, but what if you got to know the guy? What if he was a good guy? What if, I don't know, just what if?
Yeah,
But
it's a bunch of what ifs, and I think it is all depending on the situation, how it's brought up to me and the family and stuff, but I'm just saying my initial reaction would obviously be a full stop, hell no. Now, would I say like I wouldn't want to hear them out or whatever? No, obviously I don't want to hear them out. That's my child. I don't want to do the opposite and shut them down to where they just run off with this older man.
Exactly.
I would never want to do that. But you guys are getting twisted. I've never had a bad experience with older man. I've dated an older man when I was younger, like I said, and it was actually great for me. So it's not that I'm trying to protect them. I don't want them to do this and third. It's just I want her to be aware that she is walking into a possible power dynamic issue. It would be the same thing if my 30-year-old daughter was going to marry some rich doctor or lawyer or whatever. I'll be like, make sure that you have your things in check, so just in case something goes bad, you're not going to get left in a stranded little studio apartment or something. It's the same. It's the same thing.
That's fair.
It's like to be a mother to like, and a boy or girl, it doesn't matter who is in that situation. Obviously, if they're 18, 19, they're gonna do whatever they want. But it's also like your job as a parent to like advocate for the best of them and have their best interest at heart. You know.
So it's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Here you go again.
Well,
Here. No. Stop. I'm changing the topic. Let me read this chat and then